how to start any side hustle for free by letting the government pay the bill. What up, you got Mr. Smith, point five of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and in this brief video, I want to talk to you about how to start any side hustle for free and let the government pay the bill. Now, this is not a shot to the government. This is actually to show the relationship that goes into having a side hustle, having a business, and a lot of people don't think about it from this angle. Now, I know you might have clicked on this because you want to start a side hustle for free and not come out of pocket. So that's a little bit clickbaity, but just follow it. And I started to do like a whiteboard video or, kind of showing a screen sharing video, but you're just gonna have to pick up what I'm putting down. I just did a screen sharing video that inspired this video. So hopefully you can follow along, because you got to understand that you can start any side hustle for free for the most part, or it'll end up being free when you do the math and you think about it, because too many people look at getting a side hustle and they only look at how much money they can make. And that's amazing. You want to look at, income potential and growth and things of that nature. We still do it to this day. Look at income potential on certain things, how to scale up or whatever the case may be. But that's not the only part of being in business. That's not the only part of cash flow. That's not the only part that can make you profitable long term. And what I'm talking about now can be done even if you're not profitable. So you might want to take a little note, but definitely get with your tax professional, because that's what we're going to be talking about. And the reason why I say that is because I'm not a tax professional. I no longer file taxes for anyone, but I do have benefited from the information I'm about to share, and have tax specialists in my pocket from a standpoint of phone call and been on some trainings and webinars to where I can understand how it works, because I've not only implemented it and helped other people implement it, but have learned from those who have benefited from implementing it and help other people implement it to this day. Now, what am I talking about? All right, now, a lot of times when you want to start a side hustle, one of the barriers to entry is how much is it going to cost? And I want you to get out of the mentality just for a minute, because just because it costs something don't mean it costs something. And I know that might not make a lick of sense, but just because it costs something doesn't mean that in the end it's going to cost something, because it's a way to make things pay for itself, especially when you're talking about a business. Because most people join a business for the ability to make a profit, and that's the great reason to join. Because if you're making an attempt to make a profit, or you're in pursuit of a profit, that by definition qualifies you for getting tax deductions, qualifies you for being a business, being in pursuit of making a profit. And a lot of times people look at the IRS and they either fear them, they either dislike them, and the same with the government. They either fear them, dislike them, things of that nature. But if you switch the mentality, you'll see that it's an actual relationship that's taking place between a business owner, a person with a side hustle, and the IRS, or a person with a side hustle and the government. And ultimately, the side hustle can turn into a full-fledged business. So side hustle is just startup talk, but it's a buzzword. So hopefully you get some value from it. Now, a lot of times they look at these entities as negative, and not to say that they got it all figured out, like it's all 100%, and like it's not certain things that's going on that shouldn't be going on. Not to say that at all. However, the government rewards those who contribute to society, who contribute to the economy. There are always rewards to those who are contributing, not those who are just taking away. So you got to get out of the mentality of just being a consumer and position yourself to be a producer or an owner. So when you think of things that you can do that could be that you can contribute, and the incentives that come from it, then you'll see that being a business owner is a relationship between the IRS, between the government, because you're contributing, and because of it, they give you certain incentives. And, that's not only with business, that happens with investments. Certain investments are taxed a lot less due to the fact that they're considered to be contributors or owners of society. And this happens when you buy into certain things that they're pushing, like energy efficient vehicles, like certain going green type things, solar, certain things give you incentives because you're helping move in the direction that they want to go into. Same with business. You're helping contribute to society. You're helping to bring in cash flow, generate income, hire other people, and keep the cycle going. So by understanding that, positions you to make the government pay the bill. What do I mean? Say, for example, that you had a business and that business costs you $1,000 to get started. We'll just use that as an example. $1,000 to get started with your business. Now, I know you may be thinking, I thought you said it wasn't gonna cost anything, but I said sometimes just because it has a cost doesn't mean it has a cost. If you're starting a business, what you got to understand first and foremost, the initial money you put up, even before you start the business, a lot of the research, if it's money put into the research, that can be tax deductible. The initial money you put up is definitely tax deductible. As you start striving to build the business, it's tax deductible. So say it's $1,000 up front, and then it might cost you $500 a month in all expenses, overhead, all in costs. So $1,000 a month, $1,000 up front, $500 a month to maintain. This is just an example. I'm literally just off the dome throwing something out there. So what does that look like? So $500 times 10 months would be 5,000. So 5,000. Then we got to calculate the other 500. So 5,500 plus the other 1,000, the initial 1,000. So $6,500. And my math might be a little off. I think I'm on point, but $6,500 for the year that it costs you to operate your business. Now, I just told you that if you're doing business and you're moving your business with the intent to make a profit, who isn't trying to be profitable in their business? Otherwise, why did you get into business? You should at least be trying to be profitable by helping others, by giving value, by solving a problem, not just doing it to treat it as a tax shelter. That's not how business operates. You definitely got to be in motion, not just trying to say, oh, just because I pay this membership or pay for this, I get the tax deductions. Not at all. This is not what that video is. If that's what you're thinking, then I apologize for wasting this amount of your time. You're free to go. But if you understand what I mean, then that $6,500 that went into your business for that year just gave you $6,500 in tax deductions. Now, since it's a side hustle that we're talking about, let's say that you made $52,000 or $50,000, just for good numbers, $50,000, and you're single and you just had that side hustle. Well, a person who makes $50,000 typically is going to pay 28% in taxes, give or take. Federal taxes typically are going to pay 28%. Well, when you think about the federal taxes, that's the only tax arena that you had the ability to control for the most part. Most of the time, you don't have control of your taxes. So the federal taxes can be controlled if you do certain things that provide incentives. One of which that I'm referring to is having a business. So if you fall into a 30% tax bracket, or 28, 30% tax bracket, what that means is you're going to be taxed, or you're going to lose out of the 50,000 that you make, you're going to lose about 15%, give or take. I mean, 15,000 of your income that's going to go to taxes automatically. Now, I know you will get a standard deduction that'll lower your tax liability and, things of that nature, but you're going to lose a certain amount of money. But if you have tax deductions, now you can offset that amount that you have to owe, because they're going to look at it like, oh, this person doesn't owe this 28% in taxes, or if they do, they don't owe on the $50,000 that they earn. Why? Because if you had $6,500 in tax deductions, and this is assuming that all of that is 100% tax deductible, it can offset your tax liability by about $3,000, give or take. It usually affects it, on a 50, not dollar for dollar, but usually about 50, 50%, give or take. And sometimes it varies, so don't quote me on that. Like I said, this is just a video to kind of get your wheels turning on how the side hustle didn't cost you money. The government paid the bill because of the tax incentives that came along with it. So $6,500 offsetting your $50,000 that you earned in taxable income, instead of them now taxing you at the 28%, that might lower your tax bracket. Not only will it lower your tax bracket, it can also lower the amount that you're being taxed. So you went from being taxed to $15,000 to, since they're in a different tax bracket and we're taxing them on less money, then guess what? We're gonna only tax them $12,000. And that's just with the example of the $6,500 that it costs you to run the business. We haven't got into the common tax deductions of the miles that you have to drive to and from to run your business, the advertising dollars that you put into your business. We haven't got into the people that you may have to pay to do certain work. If you have kids, how you can hire your kids as employees, the travel expenses going out of town, the meals that may go into the money that you spend in terms of conducting business, shipping costs, products, testing the products, equipment, depreciation. It's hundreds of tax deductions. So when you calculate all of that in, you having a side hustle, even if you're not profitable just yet, all of these tax deductions will outweigh that $6,500 that you put into getting that business started. And in many cases, it'll outweigh some of the additional things you did to build your business. And the beauty of it is, if you're doing a home-based business, a lot of the stuff that you're doing, a lot of money that you're spending, was money you're going to be spending anyway. Couple of examples. You're going to drive your vehicle anyway. But now if you incorporate business with everything that you're doing outside of going to work, that's not tax deductible. I'm not saying that, but you do it the right way, a lot of your mileage can be tax deductible. Now, you were going to drive your vehicle anyway, but now since you start to incorporate business into doing it, those miles just became tax deductible. 50 cents typically, give or take, per mile goes into every mile you drive. So if you drive 12,000 miles in business for the year, that's about $6,000 in tax deduction on top of the $6,500 that we discussed. Say you put some marketing dollars in there. That would be extra that you wasn't going to spend anyway. But a lot of the marketing that you will be doing will be conducted on the cell phone using the internet. So the money that you're spending on your cell phone bill just decrease, because if you're paying $100 a month for your cell phone and you're doing 50% business on it, $50 of that is tax deductible. You do 80% of business, 80% of that was tax deductible. You do 90% business, 90% of that was tax deductible. What are we not using our phones for as it relates to business? Your marketing, you're texting, you're messaging, you're hopping on phone calls, you're scheduling, you're doing videos. Literally, this phone covers the ground for a lot of different equipment that goes into your business. Now you just made this phone an asset, tax deductible. Same with your internet service. So think about the money that you would have been spending anyway, and now you're able to offset your tax liability by understanding that those things are tax deductibles. Now it all boils down to record keeping. So you want to make sure you're doing good record keeping. You want to have a software that you're able to take pictures of receipts, log in the expenses that go into you operating your business, so you're not leaving money on the table. Because sometimes you may forget, oh, I drove here, I did that, I bought this. If you're not keeping up with your receipts, if you're not even at least save them and then upload them into whatever system you use every so often, but definitely before tax time, because that's when you're gonna see that your business didn't cost you money. It saved you money because of the tax deductions that go along with it. So in a nutshell, that's how you make any side hustle free, because the money that you spend is tax deductible. The government paid the bill and incentivized you for being a contributor to society, not just a consumer in society. Let me know if that was beneficial. I didn't pull out a whiteboard and break it down like I have before, but I just really wanted to paint that picture. I was doing another video and I said, you know what? I think people need to understand that a side hustle doesn't cost them money. It saves them money. Now, if you don't have a side hustle already, and you were looking for this video to give you a side hustle, I put a link below so you can take advantage of a side hustle that we highly recommend, but it complements any side hustle that you may have. That side hustle is a personal financial success membership, because it teaches you what I'm teaching you and some. It gives you software, what I was just telling you about on tracking those things, and some. It gets you to where you can better your own credit. Now you also have these tools that you can use for your side hustle, for your business, but not only that, you can share with others. And if you share with others, you can earn income from the sharing with others. So it increases your cash flow in more ways than one. Click the available link below so you can understand how you can have a home-based business and start one that pays for itself. $0. Even though it might have came out of pocket, it might have cost something. When you do the math, it costs nothing. That's all I got. Mr. Smith, signing out. Salute.